I pressed my forehead against the cool window of my apartment and watched the Albuquerque lights flicker like they were trying to speak to me. I had just signed the papers for my first home, and the keys sat in my palm, heavier than anything I had ever carried. Not because of the metal, but because of everything it took to earn them. This is a story created by the author of the Revenge Amber channel for educational and inspirational purposes, and it does not portray any specific real-life individual. For a moment, I let myself breathe, really breathe like I finally had space in my lungs after years of holding everything in. My phone vibrated. Diane Miller, my mother. I swallowed hard before answering. Yeah. Mom. Her voice came sharp and clipped. Jade, your father and I need to talk to you tomorrow. Come by the house. I can't. I said, I'm moving into my place. Remember I told you last month? Silence stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. Then she exhaled through her nose, the way she always did before delivering a verdict. You went through with that. It's my house, I said quietly. Of course I went through with it. We discussed this. No, I replied. You talked. I listened. You should have waited, she insisted. Your sister needs support right now. There it was. Kara, the center of gravity in every conversation. The walking crisis everyone was expected to orbit around. I felt heat crawl up my neck. Mom, I worked for this. For years. You earned that money while living under our roof for 18 years, she said. You owe us some consideration. There was the familiar tilt of the ground beneath me. She always framed obligation as love and love as debt. I have to go, I said. We'll talk later. Before she could answer, I ended the call and let my head rest against the wall. Her words lingered, heavy enough to tug at old bruises. Still, beneath the ache, something steadier rose, a pulse of defiance, or maybe hope. I had a home now. My home. And no matter how many times Diane tried to rewrite my life to fit her narrative, this part was mine. If you've ever fought for something no one believed you could have, stay with me. Stories like mine live in the cracks of families everywhere, and the more we speak them out loud, the more we reclaim what was taken. My phone buzzed again the moment I stepped away from the window. I expected Sloan. Maybe a congratulations text. Instead, Kara's name lit the screen. Her message was short, sharp, and meant to cut "Heard you bought a house." Must be nice having everything handed to you. I stared at the words until they blurred. Then I laughed, a small, humorless sound that scraped against my throat. Handed to me. Nothing in my life had ever been handed to me. I typed nothing back. Another message flashed. You know Mom and Dad paid for everything you ever had. Some of us didn't get that luxury. My pulse drummed in my ears. I called her before I could stop myself. She answered with a sigh. What are you mad now, Kara? I said. When exactly did Mom and Dad pay for anything of mine? Name one thing. Oh, please, she snapped. You act like you struggled. You always found jobs so easily. You always managed. You were the lucky one. Lucky I felt my jaw tighten. I worked 2 jobs at 16. I paid for community college on my own. I bought my first car with savings I scraped together over 2 years. Sounds miserable, she said. Maybe if you weren't so obsessed with being the responsible one, you'd actually have a life. There it was, the twisted logic she had perfected. My hard work was an insult to her. My survival was a personal attack. I'm not doing this, I said. Not tonight. You never do anything for this family, she shot back. Enjoy your little house? Jade, must be nice pretending you earned it alone. The call ended with a click sharp enough to sting. I held the phone to my chest, steadying my breath. The house key dug into my palm again, grounding me. Whatever was coming next, the ground was already shifting beneath my feet. Sloan showed up the next evening with 2 coffees and a roll of packing tape looped around her wrist like a bracelet. Tell me you slept, she said, eyeing the half-packed boxes scattered around my apartment. Not much, I admitted. Family drama. She snorted. When is it not? Then she pointed at a box labeled kitchen. Start there. If we wait for your mom to magically approve your life choices, you'll be 80. Her bluntness cracked something inside me, something tight. Diane called again this morning, I said. Told me to come by tomorrow. Are you going? No. Good. Sloane snapped the tape across a box with the kind of finality I wished I could use on my family. She'll survive without dictating your every move. We carried the boxes down the stairs, both of us sweating, both of us pretending the weight was just cardboard. At the moving truck, she finally asked what had been simmering between us. So, Kara. She said everything was handed to me. Sloane froze mid-lift. You. The woman who lived off ramen and worked double shifts. Sure. Totally handed. I let out a breath that felt like it had been trapped for a decade. Diane says I owe them. For what raising you? That's called parenting, not a loan agreement. Her words hit harder than she knew. By the time we pulled up to my small yellow house in La Mesa, the sky was bruised purple. I unlocked the door, and Sloane stepped in first. She looked around the empty space, then back at me. This feels right, she said quietly, like you finally stopped waiting for permission. I set the keys on the counter, hearing them clink like a beginning. For the first time all week, I believed her. I woke on the air mattress to my phone vibrating against the floor. Diane's name filled the screen again. Jade, she said before I could speak. Come to the house today. Bring every document from your home purchase. The deed, the mortgage, everything. My stomach tightened. Why just come? Your father and I will explain when you arrive. She hung up. By afternoon, I was driving toward their place in Rio Rancho with a folder of documents on the passenger seat, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my hands ached. The moment I stepped inside, I knew something was wrong. Greg sat stiffly in his recliner, jaw locked. Diane stood behind him with her arms crossed like a judge, and on the couch, sprawled like she owned the room, was Kara, wearing a smirk sharp enough to draw blood. Diane gestured to a love seat. Sit. We need to discuss your recent purchase. I stayed standing. My house. What about it? Greg cleared his throat. We feel you made this decision without considering the needs of the family. The family, I repeated, heat rising in my chest. You earned that money while living under our roof for 18 years, Diane added. You owe us consideration. I stared at her. You think you're owed part of my house. No one is taking anything, Greg said. We're asking you to share. Kara finally looked up. The studio space behind your house would be perfect for me. I need somewhere stable while I get back on my feet. You mean, I said slowly, you want to move into my home. Temporarily. Diane said, Kara will pay you rent. $300 a month is reasonable. The number hit me like a slap. My mortgage is over $1,200 alone. Utilities, insurance, and taxes add another few hundred. You expect me to cover all of that so Kara can play tenant for pennies? You can afford it, Diane snapped. You have always been independent. Kara is still finding her path. Kara's smile widened. See, Mom gets it. Anger cracked through me. I worked 2 jobs at 16. I bought my car with money I saved over 2 years. I paid for community college on my own. You got a car at 16 and had your tuition covered 3 times. That is not my fault, Kara shot back. Just because you like being miserable. Miserable. My voice shook. Working hard is miserable to you. You judge everyone, she said, standing. You think being responsible makes you superior. Diane stepped between us. Enough. Jade. You will let Kara move into the studio. She will pay $300. You will cover the rest. Consider it an investment in your sister's future. Something in me hardened, cold and certain. No. Greg's eyebrows shot up. Jade, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. I said, the answer is no. It is my house. Kara is not moving in. Diane's expression turned sharp and brittle. You are being incredibly selfish. After everything we have done for you. I met her eyes. List one thing. Go ahead. For the first time all afternoon. Diane faltered. Kara grabbed her bag. Keep your stupid house. Enjoy being alone. She stormed out. Greg and Diane stared at me with matching disappointment, as if I had destroyed something sacred. Greg's voice was low. You are making a mistake. Family comes first. I walked toward the door, my legs shaking. Family is supposed to support each other, not drain each other dry. I stepped into the sunlight, clutching the folder to my chest. Knowing something irreversible had happened. The line between us had finally snapped. 3 days passed before the next blow landed. I was sorting inventory at work when my phone buzzed with an email notification from the Bernalillo County Court. I opened it, expecting some boring employment document. Instead, I saw my parents' names listed as plaintiffs. My breath stuck in my throat. When I clicked the attachment, the world narrowed to a single point of disbelief. They were suing me. The claims spread down the page in neat, vicious lines. I read the words aloud in the quiet storage room. They actually did it. Sloane found me minutes later, standing frozen beside a stack of boxes. What happened, she asked. I handed her the phone. She scanned it, jaw-dropping. They sued you. Your own parents sued you. I swallowed hard, feeling my pulse in my teeth. For raising me, for not giving Kara my house. She cursed under her breath. You need a lawyer, right now. The only attorney I knew was a customer from the warehouse, a sharp, calm woman named Alex Quinn, who ordered medical equipment for her clinic. I called her office and explained the situation in shaky fragments. Alex told me to come in that afternoon. Her office was small but organized, papers stacked in careful towers. She listened without interrupting as I handed her the lawsuit. After a minute of quiet reading, she said, This is one of the most aggressive implied contract claims I have seen. So they can win. My voice cracked despite my effort to hold it steady. It is unlikely, she said, but not impossible. Family cases can twist logic in surprising ways. I felt something deflate inside me. I worked for everything. They know that. Alex leaned forward. Then we prove it. I need documentation. Every job you had since you were 16. Every pay stub. Every tax return. Any evidence showing you supported yourself. I nodded quickly. I kept everything. Good. And we need financial patterns. She continued. How much support your parents gave Kara over the years. Any debts they covered. Any tuition. Anything. The word anything hung between us like a challenge. Alex tapped the lawsuit. This is not about your house, Jade. It is about control. Your family is trying to turn your independence into a debt. The room felt colder. What do I do now? You fight, she said gently. You organize your life on paper, and you let me carry the legal weight. When I left her office, I held the lawsuit to my chest the same way I had once held the folder of house documents. Except this time, it was not pride anchoring me. It was fear and the first spark of something fiercer. For the next 2 weeks, my kitchen table turned into an archive of my entire adulthood. Pay stubs, worn tax folders, bank statements dating back to when I still smelled like fryer grease. Everything I had kept out of habit or fear of losing proof that I could stand on my own. Alex spread the documents across the table like puzzle pieces. You have been financially independent since you were 18, she said. That matters. I nodded, though my throat felt tight. They always said I should handle things myself. And Kara, Alex asked without looking up. I hesitated. Mom and Dad covered her rent twice. They paid her university tuition 3 times. They bought her a car at 16. They paid off her credit cards more than once. Numbers. Jade, Alex said gently. We need numbers. So I dug. I scrolled through Kara's old posts, messages, photos of her holding a new designer bag, or tagging herself at a resort in Phoenix, or posing next to a car I knew she had not paid for. Every post was another bruise I had ignored for years. Here, I said, handing Alex my notes. This is what I could piece together. Approximately $92,000 in support for Kara over 5 years, and for me, $300 in gift cards. Alex exhaled slowly. This is a pattern, not an accident, not favoritism by chance. A pattern of funneling resources to one child and expecting the other to compensate. Her words landed with a weight I had carried my entire life but never named. A week later, an envelope arrived from my parents' attorney. Alex opened it in front of me. Inside was a letter laced with polite venom. They are offering a settlement, Alex said, scanning it. If you grant Kara the studio and acknowledge your parents' financial contribution to your upbringing, they will withdraw the lawsuit. I felt heat crawl up my neck. So they want me to surrender part of my house and thank them for raising me. Yes, Alex said. They want compliance, not compromise. A sharp, shaky breath escaped me. They really think they own me. Alex looked at me with something like sympathy, but sharper. People who depend on control rarely accept someone breaking free. I stared at the letter again, the scripted words neatly arranging my childhood into a debt ledger. No, I said. We are not settling. Alex nodded. Then we prepare for court. Saying the words out loud didn't make me feel brave. It made me feel exposed, peeled open in a way I had spent decades avoiding. But beneath the fear was a harder edge, steady, dark, and new. If they wanted a fight, I would give them every documented year of my life. On the morning of the hearing, the courthouse smelled faintly of old paper and nerves. Alex walked beside me with her briefcase tucked under her arm, calm enough to steady the shaking in my hands. Inside the courtroom, my parents sat with their attorney, a silver-haired man with a polished voice and a practiced, sympathetic smile. Kara sat behind them, arms folded, chin lifted like she had already won. Alex murmured, "Remember your truth. Say only what is real." The judge entered, a woman with an unwavering stare. "We are here to address the plaintiff's claim of implied financial obligation and property entitlement." Opening statements. My parents' attorney rose first. "Your Honor," he began smoothly, "this case is about fairness. Greg and Diane Miller devoted decades to raising their daughter Jade, providing food, housing, education, and emotional guidance. They merely ask for reasonable reciprocity now that she is successful." He gestured toward my parents, who both arranged their faces into wounded expressions. "She refuses to help her struggling sister Kara, who is navigating a difficult transition in life. The Millers believe they are owed support in return for the sacrifices they made." Alex stood next. "Your Honor, this case is not about fairness. It is about control. Jade Miller has been financially independent since she was 18. She paid for her own education, housing, transportation, and living expenses. Her parents provided substantial financial assistance to her sister. Kara documented at over $92,000 in the past 5 years, while giving Jade $300 in total. The plaintiff's lawsuit is not grounded in law, but in resentment over Jade's independence." The judge nodded. "Proceed with testimony." Greg took the stand. "We supported both of our daughters," he said earnestly. "Jade was always independent. She did not need as much help." Alex rose for cross-examination. "Mr. Miller, did you contribute a single dollar to Jade's college education?" He shifted. "She chose community college." That was not my question. "No," We did not. Did you pay for her first vehicle? No, but you purchased Kara a car at 16. His jaw tightened. She needed transportation for school, and Jade did not. He hesitated. Different situations. Alex moved on. In the past 5 years, you transferred approximately $40,000 to Kara for rent and credit card debt, correct? He exhaled sharply. We helped her through difficulties. And how much did you transfer to Jade in that same time silence? 0, Alex said. Correct. He nodded once. No further questions. Diane was next. She reached the stand already crying. I love my daughters, she said shakily. But Jade has always pushed us away. She makes us feel unwanted. Alex stepped forward. Mrs. Miller, did you attend Jade's graduation ceremony? Diane blinked rapidly. We were busy. Did you ever offer to help her financially? She never asked. Did she ever receive gifts comparable to Kara's birthdays, holidays, or college milestones? Diane opened her mouth, closed it, then whispered. Jade was strong. She could handle less. The judge's stare sharpened. Then came Kara. She leaned toward the microphone. Jade acts like she is better than everyone. She hoards money and refuses to help family. I just needed somewhere to get back on my feet. Alex clasped her hands behind her back. How many jobs have you held for more than 1 year? Kara frowned. That is irrelevant. Please answer. I do not know. A few. Alex lifted a document. According to your resume, 0. Your longest position was 8 months. Kara's face reddened. And your rent the past year, I have been staying with my parents. No payment. She bristled. Money is not everything. Alex tilted her head. Is that why you expected Jade to house you for $300 a month when her mortgage alone is over $1,200? That is what family does. Kara snapped. They help. Did you ever help Jade when she worked 2 jobs and ate canned food to save for her car? Kara folded her arms and looked away. I had my own stress. No further questions. Finally, it was my turn. When I sat down, the microphone felt too close, too intimate. Alex guided me gently. Jade, have you been financially independent since 18? Yes. Did your parents contribute to your home purchase? No. Did you ever expect repayment for your hard work? Never. My voice trembled, but I spoke through it. All I ever wanted was respect for the life I built. I did not buy a house to hurt my sister. I did not say no to punish my parents. I said no because it was the first thing I had ever earned fully on my own. The courtroom felt painfully still. My parents raised me to be independent, and now they resent me for succeeding. The judge lifted her hand. Thank you, Ms. Miller. As I stepped down, I saw my parents' attorney watching me with a flicker of uncertainty. For the first time since this nightmare began, the imbalance between us shifted subtly, quietly, but unmistakably. When Judge Rivera returned to the bench, the entire courtroom shifted with her. She carried the ruling in a single folded sheet of paper, but the weight of it pressed down on every breath in the room. She cleared her throat. After reviewing testimony and evidence, this court finds no legal basis for the plaintiff's claims. Diane's hand flew to her mouth. Greg stiffened, jaw clenching so hard the tendons stood out. Kara whispered something sharp under her breath, eyes fixed on me like I had stolen her future. Judge Rivera continued, her tone unwavering. Providing necessities for a minor child is a legal obligation, not a contract establishing debt. Furthermore, the evidence demonstrates a pattern of disproportionate financial support given to the younger daughter, Kara Miller, while the defendant, Jade Miller, received negligible assistance. Greg shot to his feet. Your Honor, that is not sit down, the judge said without looking at him. He obeyed. She turned her gaze toward me, steady and human. Ms. Miller, The law is clear. Your home is yours. Fully and without dispute. Diane let out a strangled sound, half sob, half anger. Judge Rivera tapped her gavel lightly. The case is dismissed with prejudice. Additionally, the plaintiffs will reimburse the defendant's legal fees totaling $6,400. The final crack of the gavel echoed like something breaking cleanly in half. Silence followed, heavy and stunned. Alex touched my arm gently. "You did well," she murmured. My parents' attorney began packing his briefcase without making eye contact. Greg stared at the table, seething. Diane leaned toward me, her voice shaking. "You destroyed this family." I met her eyes without flinching. "No, I stopped letting you destroy me." Kara stood abruptly and pushed past the chairs, muttering, "You will regret this." But as I walked out of the courtroom beside Alex, the fear that had followed me for years did not follow this time. The only thing that stayed with me was the echo of the gavel final. Firm, freeing. The week after the verdict felt unnervingly quiet. No calls, no texts, nothing from Greg, nothing from Diane, and certainly nothing from Kara. It was the kind of silence that used to make me brace for impact. But now it just drifted around me like air I no longer needed to breathe carefully. On a Tuesday evening, while I was tightening a loose cabinet hinge in my kitchen, my phone buzzed. It was Sloane. "Have they reached out?" she asked. "No." "Good," she said. "Let them sit with what they did." I hesitated. Part of me keeps waiting for another attack. "You survived the worst one," she replied. "They threw everything at you and still lost?" I set the screwdriver down, letting her words settle. "Alex emailed earlier." I added, "My parents paid the $6,400 already." Sloane let out a low whistle. That had to burn. Maybe it did. Or maybe they convinced themselves they were martyrs paying a price for my betrayal. I no longer needed to guess. 2 days later, I ran into my former grocery store manager, Harold Kent, outside a hardware store. He approached with a cautious smile. "Jade," he said, "I wanted you to know I overheard your mother telling someone you sued them, said you were unstable." My chest tightened, but Harold continued, "Steady." I corrected her, calmly, publicly. I told them the truth, that they sued you and the judge dismissed it. People listened. I exhaled slowly. "Thank you. You earned your life." He said, "No one gets to rewrite that." That night, back at home, I stood in the doorway of the small studio out back, the one they tried so hard to claim. Empty walls, concrete floor, afternoon light stretching across the space. It no longer felt like a battleground. It felt like a beginning. I whispered into the stillness, not for them, but for myself. This part is mine, and for the first time, the silence answered with peace, not fear. Months passed, not quickly, but cleanly without the old tension dragging behind each day. I spent weekends sanding the studio walls, patching cracks, and installing shelves I had always been told I was too busy to need. The space slowly shifted from storage to something that felt like breath. One evening, Sloane showed up carrying takeout and a smug grin. "You have paint in your hair," she announced. "I am aware," I said, brushing at it uselessly. She stepped inside the studio, turning in a slow circle. "Jade, this looks incredible. It is getting there." I wiped my hands on my jeans. Feels different now, like it finally belongs to me. "It always did," she said softly. I sat on the floor beside the half-open toolbox. "It is strange. They burned every bridge and I thought losing them would hurt more." "Sometimes peace feels wrong at first," she said, "because you grew up thinking chaos was normal." Her words hit their mark, but gently. I nodded. I used to think if I worked hard enough, they would see me, respect me, something. And now I do not need them to. I said, "I am building a life that does not require their approval." She nudged my shoulder. That is the story people need to hear. Jade. You know, the ones watching and fighting their own battles. Tell them they're not alone. Tell them they can walk away too. Her voice blended with the quiet settling over the room. A small, unexpected warmth grew in my chest. If someone is listening, I said softly, I hope they remember this choosing yourself is not selfish. It is survival. And you deserve a life you built with your own hands, not one controlled by someone else's fear. Sloane smiled. There she is. The woman who finally knows her worth. I looked around the studio, the room they tried to claim, the room I reclaimed and breathed in the stillness. This is my home, I said, and for the first time, so am I.